This is Theremin 30. 30 minutes of theremin music, news, events, and interviews with a new episode about every 30 days. Now, here's your host from Chicago, Illinois, Reid.
Hey, welcome to the Theremin 30 podcast for September 2024. A little bit late this month, but I'd rather be late or skip a month to make sure I always have an interesting interview and quality music tracks to share with you. And as it just so happens, I have an interesting interview and quality music tracks to share with you. My guest is multi-instrumentalist and composer Kristoffer Rosing-Schow, and I have new music from Rob Schwimmer, Steve Bryson, and the International Theremin Camp Ensemble. Let's get started with a lovely modern classical performance by Rob Schwimmer, playing theremin live along with his own recorded piano accompaniment. This is Erich Wolfgang Korngold's 1924 composition, In meine innige Nacht, which Google Translate interprets as In My Intimate Night. It's from Korngold's Drei Gesange, Opus 18, and was performed by Rob at the 2022 Gilmore Piano Festival. You can watch the video of his performance anytime on the Theremin 30 YouTube playlist. It's time now for the Theremin 30 calendar of theremin events. On September 27th, Marla Goodman hosts a drop-in theremin art workshop at Montana State University's School of Art. On September 28th, Thea Munster plays the Golden Tiki in Las Vegas. On October 6th, Microtonal University begins a new season of online courses. On October 7th, The Bestiary, a theater production featuring music composed by Dorrit Chrysler, opens in Greenwich Village in New York City. And on Halloween night, Miles Brown performs solo and with the Night Terrors at the Melbourne Museum. For details about these events and more, check out the full calendar at theremin30.com. Up next, I have a recent track from Steve Bryson of San Rafael, California. Steve has been creating experimental and ambient music for the past 50 years, and his music has been used in planetariums and immersive exhibits. Lately, he's been studying the theremin with Carolina Ike, and this is one of his first theremin-centric recordings. It's called Winter Voices. That was Winter Voices by Steve Bryson from his Music for Theremin album on Bandcamp. He plans to add a couple more tracks to the album soon. Steve also has a new album with San Francisco-based electronic artist Carolyn Falk called Space-Time Canvas. You can find that album on Bandcamp as well. In June of this year, I attended International Theremin Camp in a town called Røyoa in the suburbs of Copenhagen, Denmark. It was a 5-day informal conference with about 24 theremin players from around Europe and North and South America. We all knew each other from participating in Lydia Kavanagh's weekly online workshops, either as students or guest speakers. But most of us had never met in real life. We got together at the music school in Røyoa for peer-led music workshops and other creative activities. And on the last evening, we put on a theremin recital for the local community. The evening's program was mostly performed by professional-level thereminists, including Lydia Kavanagh, Torvald Jorgensen, and Anna Magda de Hughes. But we all got to play a new composition called Teenage Message 2 by Kristoffer Rosing-Schow. I recently spoke with Kristoffer about his composition and how it went from an idea to a concert performance. Kristoffer, welcome to the Theremin 30 podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
For our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with your work, tell us a little bit about your musical background. I understand you teach and you're a composer and you're in a jazz band.
I'm educated as a saxophone player. I finished my education, a 5-year study in 98. And I have been working since then, playing with my bands, teaching and making music for theater and dance. So I think these 3 areas are, both in economically terms and in time, pretty equal. Teaching, playing with my bands, and making music for theater and dance performances.
Now, we featured your band in a previous episode where you play saxophone and theremin.
Yes, that's true. Also in this band I play bass clarinet and all different kinds of stuff. I decided maybe 10 years ago that I wanted to focus mainly on being a composer. So now I play all the instrument I think is needed for the music I compose more than working as a musician.
Now, you had a really interesting and challenging composition project this summer. You and I both were at the International Theremin Camp outside of Copenhagen, Denmark. And the highlight of the week, or the finale of the week, I should say, was a concert where the public was invited to attend. And then there was a piece that you composed.
I decided early on, when I knew that we were going to meet, that it would be a fun and nice thing to try to play together, all of us. So I proposed, and it was accepted, that I will try to make a composition for 25 theremins, and later on I added piano and guitar and percussion. And it was a fun challenge and a big challenge to compose this music, but I think we ended up doing well, and it was a lot of fun. And of course, also a big challenge to make these theremins sound in the same room.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. It was a rectangular recital hall. There were all of the thereminists around 3 of the walls, and we were all maybe 5, 6, 7 feet apart from each other, 2 meters from each other. We found out that for some reason, there were certain theremins that would interfere with other theremins. So somebody 20 feet away could be playing their theremin, and it would affect the pitch of my theremin. And it was just bizarre.
Sometimes it's just strange. I know there's something about the theremins being connected to the same clock unit that can interfere. And of course, also we found out that it was especially some models of the theremin who had problems with specific other models of theremin. I anticipated that there could be some problems, so I had tried to compose a thing that would be robust to these kind of problems.
The way the composition was set up is you had a core band that was at the stage end of the room, and then the rest of us were sort of a theremin choir, I think is what I would describe it. And with the choir, part of the richness is that everybody's not playing exactly the same pitch at the same moment. And so that kind of worked into what you were writing for us.
I knew before starting writing that there will be all kinds of people at the camp. So I was pretty sure that there would probably be some who had difficulty reading music, also a lot of different levels of playing. So I took inspiration from one of my children. She is a guitar player, and when she was very young, she participated in a guitar camp. And I heard a concert there with 200 guitars playing the same composition, and I noticed that 180 of these children were playing the composition, and 20 of them were playing something else. And I kind of liked that sound. Mm-hmm. It is sort of a human distortion that you could use to your advantage, as long as the main core of the sound is the notes that you want, then it's actually only fine and can add to the music that there's uncertainty. And of course, you being a theremin player also know that uncertainty is a very big part of the theremin instrument. It is the danger of the instrument that we also love.
So let's talk more about the composition. Tell me the title and explain what that means.
The title of my composition was Teenage Message 2, the second theremin concert for extraterrestrials. And this is an inspiration I got from a real story. There was a Teenage Message 1, which was performed in 2001. It was a live theremin concert being broadcast to outer space. Lydia, my teacher, was a part of this project. As far as I understand it, teenagers from around Russia was chosen to choose something that they would like to show to the universe. And this was put into a 3-part transmission, the first part being like a steady sound to make the extraterrestrials recognize here's something. And the second part was, I think, a 30-minute live theremin performance, and the third part was data, pictures being sent up in different data formats. So I thought this was a wonderful story. Also, of course, the theremin, has this double history of being a serious, of course, and wonderful instrument, but also it has this kitsch thing. The sci-fi aspect of the theremin. So I wanted to tap into that as well. So my story is that this is the second transmission to the extraterrestrials.
I thought it was fascinating how your composition sort of was in surround sound, where you wrote and conducted for the 3D space in the room.
This was an idea that actually came out of the fact that I realized that we could not be on stage, all of us, that we had to be at the walls. And so suddenly you have this situation where you have a given 3D situation. We had parts of the compositions where it was only the theremins in the back who played, or only the theremins in the front, or different movements around the room, which is an effect I heard at many concerts, but I really like it. And also it is a thing that draw in the attention of the audience. Also maybe even if they do not know this kind of music before, but just the fact that the music is moving around makes it easier for the audience to be engaged, I think.
Now, I was trying to think of a category for this composition. It seems like classical is the correct word, but it's modern at the same time.
Yeah, this is the area that I like to work in as a composer. I would not say that I know a lot about classical music, but I know some things, and I like to mix things up. We used for a big part of the composition a direct quote from Igor Stravinsky's Sacre des Printemps. That was like a core thing in the composition, a specific rhythm and a specific chord that he uses. I use this as the backbone of the composition.
And for a live performance like this, I can't help but think there's sort of a sadness to it in that it will never exist again in the same way, even if you perform it again.
I spoke with a friend yesterday and we talked about like 200 years ago, where the only possibility you had of listening to music would be to go to a live concert. This holds a certain beauty also. But of course, as you know, we recorded the track, but the only real way to experience this was, of course, to be there.
Will there be a Teenage Message 3, and will you be involved?
Probably yes. We are talking now about doing another camp in 26. If we meet again, I think we should play something again.
To learn more about Kristoffer Rosing-Schow and his other music projects, including his band The Counterfictionals, click on his name in this month's show notes at theremin30.com. Now let's finish the show with the live recording of the world premiere performance of Teenage Message 2. Thank you so much to Rob Schwimmer, Steve Bryson, the International Theremin Camp Ensemble, and Kristoffer Rosing-Schow for helping me with this episode. And as always, a special thanks to the listeners who support this series with small one-time or monthly donations. I'll be back soon with another half hour of theremin music and interviews. Until then, I'll see you somewhere in the ether.
You've been listening to the Theremin 30 podcast. Visit Theremin 30 on the web at theremin30.com.